Hey, what's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another day, another beautiful Long Song Saturday. What are we doing today? Well, you guys already saw the title, but we are listening to Rhapsody in Blue, of course, originally composed by George Gershwin, or George Gershwin. I'm sorry, I was listening to Prefab Spout the other day. But we're listening to Rhapsody in Blue. However, this performance we're going to be watching as well. This is the 1976 performance conducted by Leonard Bernstein with the New York Philharmonic. So, this is a track, I say a track, this is a piece that has been recommended for a long time, and I'm finally getting around to it. Now, I thought that this was going to be classical, but apparently the genre that I'm seeing here on Wikipedia is actually orchestral jazz. So that's really interesting because that's something I don't think I'm very familiar with. I'm imagining orchestral jazz, what I think of is like the Moody Blues, what we heard on Days of Future Past, maybe, and how I talked about like the Tex Avery cartoons and the music used there. Maybe it's something similar to that, but genuinely I'm not really sure. So I'm not sure exactly what expectations to go into this with. I don't really have any. We're just going to go ahead and watch the performance, listen to the music. I'll leave my microphone half on because I'll probably talk a little about it as I'm going through. Kind of like what we did last time when we listened to Stravinsky. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to watch this. I've had it on my watch list for a while, and now we are finally going to go ahead and get to it. You know, trying, every once in a while you got to put like a different genre in the videos. You know, like we have our niche, but I like to listen to other stuff, you know, in real life. This is real life, but like outside of the channel, I like to listen to a lot of different things. So this is my opportunity to do so here a little bit. So, hey, you're here, I'm here, grab a drink, coffee, tea, or whatever your choice is. Let's go ahead and settle in. Let me get the video pulled up here. George Gershwin, Rhapsody in Blue, 1976. Got the video pulled up. Put my volume down. Whoops, that scared me because I didn't mean to start it. I'll put my volume down. Let's go ahead and give this a watch. I'm going to scoot myself over. Here we go. That's loving that lead. That's good. That's cool. That's tops. He's going. Some salt on it. That's awesome. Chopping it up. They're getting ready. catch those chords quick. That's crazy. Gotta get for one of those. Snapping right on it, right back to That's going to make your Saturday morning feel right. That's going to make it feel right. Excuse me, I just switched to another video there. Did not mean to. Okay, let me go back to it because it switched to another video. There's quite a few moments in here that were extremely impressive. First of all, Leonard Bernstein. Conducting and playing the piano. I know this is going to sound incredibly ignorant, and yes, it is. Hey, that's how you learn, right? I'm not going to say something I don't know. Not that I've watched a lot of live orchestral, symphony, classical performances, but maybe I just never thought about it. I've never seen a conductor actually playing an instrument inside of the piece. In this case, Leonard playing the piano. That was great. The way he's switching, of course, from playing piano, and not just playing piano like, here's a few notes, here's a few chords, spit them out, let the rest of the band and the group do their thing. No. He's pretty much the star. Not to, of course, be low-key on anyone else, but he is the highlight. Man, he can play. Listen, when he's going back and forth playing, it was about 14 minutes and something, right around 14 minutes, when he's leapfrogging the blacks and whites. That is such an awesome technique, the way he does that right here. And listen, I know that you pianists out there, you're like, well, that's pretty easy to do. But like at his level, maybe it's not even the most impressive thing about the performance, visually it is. He is just at another level of mastery, the way that he's doing that. To play with such precision, not that I would really know, but not one sour note, not one, like, his hands getting tangled. My hands would be all tangled up into each other. But amazing. Amazing. Easily, the highlight, there was a moment where even the lights died down, and of course they're lit up around him. Gorgeous. I really love the opening. I don't really know instruments that well when it comes to classical music and stuff. I'm just being honest. That's probably not a flute. That's probably like clarinet or something. I don't know. One of those two. But I like how he starts off. I love the melody that he starts off with. And then the way that, of course, the music kind of comes back to him. I like the melody, that it's very catchy. There's a catchy tune in there that's very rich. This whole piece reminds me of like a sprawling city, the beauty of the towers and the lights and under the stars. It's a very beautiful urban and metro, at least feeling that I get from this. Now, that could be because, like, I don't know, I just associate this type of music, which now hearing it, I'm kind of understanding. I associate this kind of jazz and orchestra with, like, cities. I can't help that. I just picture big cities listening to this. I think of my R's and W's, the roaring 20s, like walking down, like just like streets like that. And it's a wonderful, rich life. It's beautiful. The people are happy. There's the hustle and bustle of the city, the trams and the buses and the Model Ts or whatever they're driving down there. And even, I want to say about in the first third, when the music is really beginning to kick off and become alive, that's the visual I get. If you ever see those old videos, for example, of like New York in the really, really early days, and you see like the cars moving and it's that old black and white footage, just the first footage of those cities. And that's what I see. That's what I hear listening to this. Great job by everyone. Really, really beautiful. Now, I'll admit that some of the melodies, especially that main one, it did kind of sound familiar. Like, I may have heard that, I'm sure they've used something like this, at least, if not this, in, like, old Looney Tunes cartoons. Like I mentioned before, like Tex Avery cartoons. Remember the car of the future with the shaving thing, and then he tips his hat and his head comes off? Yeah, like that. Like, I've definitely heard at least a part of that melody. It sounds very familiar. And as I kind of mentioned, even during the piece itself, maybe just because we had, not recently, but in the last few months, listened to Moody Blues, Days of Future Past, and this is kind of the same backing that they had behind their music as they were playing, which I thought was a beautiful combination. And speaking of which, I saw the genre, because I mentioned that in the beginning, of orchestral jazz. This is symphonic jazz. And I love when genres, for lack of a better word, are fused with other genres. Don't laugh at me, but remember my age and stuff, right? Linkin Park, they fused rock with rap and hip hop. And it is one of the most awesome things, the coolest things, the way that they did that, the way that it all came together, the way that they really took these two styles of music and brought them together. And in me growing up in my musical age, not literal, but in my musical age, as I grew and listened to more and more music, I always looked for music that would combine different styles and bring a hybrid of these styles, because I always thought that would be the most interesting thing. That's why I got into symphonic metal and symphonic rock, like, as my first big genres. Like, I listened to a lot of Dream Theater and Symphony X and Nightwish and all these other guys, because I just thought that was so cool. Wow, bringing symphonies and classical music with rock and metal. I mean, wow. And throughout, I've always kind of held that in the back of my mind. Like, I've always been attracted to music that is different, is progressive, tries something outside the box. So, while this, of course, being originally composed and released in 1924, I believe I said? Yeah, 1924. It's still cool to hear this combination of classical music, of an orchestra with jazz. I don't know classical music, but I do listen to a decent amount of it in, like, for background music. But, like, active background music, you know what I mean? Like, I'm listening to it. I'm not just putting it on for pretty sounds. I've listened to a lot of jazz. It's what I grew up around. But to hear them kind of both put together like this, it's just really cool, at least, like, from a historical point of view, even. So, huge, huge hats off to all the musicians here in the New York Philharmonic, and, of course, to Leonard Bernstein. or Bernstein for his actual playing and conducting of the whole thing. Now, I'm just on Wikipedia regarding Rhapsody in Blue, just to read a little bit about it. I obviously see that it was very, very recognizable, and apparently it's a key composition that defined the jazz age. So obviously, this piece has an incredible amount of influence and history behind it. There's a lot of other information about it. I'm going to read a little bit about it. I'm going to make a few edits probably, but I'm going to read a little bit about Rhapsody in Blue. Okay, so there's some sort of like race in this in creating this experimental classical jazz concert. So, all right, Paul Whiteman had wanted to work with George Gershwin in creating a concerto-like piece for an all-jazz concert. Okay? At first, apparently, Gershwin didn't really want to do it. I guess Whiteman pretty much said, no, we're doing it. And I guess there was an article that was released that falsely accused Gershwin that he was already working on this concert with Whiteman. And Gershwin's like, hey, I said I wasn't really interested. And then apparently there's an arch rival involved in all this, Vincent Lopez, who was planning to steal the idea of this experimental concert. So then it was like a contest. Gershwin and Whiteman were like, oh, well, in that case, we better get a move on this. You know, we don't want anyone stealing our thunder. And speaking of the composition, Gershwin started composing the work. He says that a lot of the seeds of the piece began to germinate in his mind on the train. It was on the train with its steely rhythms, its rattly bang, that is so often so stimulating to a composer. I frequently hear music in the heart of the noise. And isn't that true when you're a musician or someone that's even just musically inclined, even if you don't play an instrument, just listening? You hear music in everything. You really do, and I can easily and definitely see that's how he heard that on the train here. He says, I heard it as sort of a musical kaleidoscope of America. Our vast melting pot, our unduplicated national pep of our metropolitan madness. That's a great way of saying it. I mean, obviously he said it, but that's a great way of saying it. Metropolitan madness. By the time I reached Boston, I had a definite plot for the piece, as distinguished from its actual substance. That's awesome how he got, he felt the railway, he felt the vibrations, the veins of America, trains, travel, and he kind of worked with that blood flow. He kind of worked with that musical flow and adapted that into the rhythm of his music. It says, upon the conclusion of the Rhapsody, there was tumultuous applause for the composition, and quite unexpectedly, the concert, in every respect but financial, was a knockout. Quickly became historically significant, and his program will become not only a historical document, finding its way into foreign monographs on jazz, but a rarity as well. Man, so they loved it. But I like how they said, like, it was in every respect but financial. It was a knockout. So they didn't do too good money-wise, but the people loved it. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching the video. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching the music being performed, listening to the music alongside me. If you're watching this in the morning, I hope this is a great start to your day. If you're watching this in the evening, hope that this puts you down just right. And if you're watching this somewhere in between, I hope it feels right. Either way, I appreciate you guys joining me here. I know that I don't know really anything about this type of music, but I appreciate you, watching and being involved with me, filling me in on the comments. I can't thank you guys enough for, helping me out down there. You are a huge part of my musical education. So I appreciate you. Keep on leaving your suggestions down there. If you like, you can follow me on Twitter. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You can support the channel on Patreon if you enjoy the channel. In that respect, you can like and subscribe. That's all good stuff. But I hope that you just enjoyed your time here. Come back tomorrow. I'll see you then, guys. Bye.